all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Everything in that passage right there points back to the author of life, God our Father. All children are a blessing from God. God considers their lives precious. It matters not how they were conceived, what their beginnings were. God looks at these children and says, you are a blessing. And we need to look at children and see the same thing. Unfortunately, often children are looked at as a bother. They're not a bother, they're a blessing. All children have a God-given potential. God brings blessings through those children, whether they were planned or unplanned. And He brings blessings that are planned by Him and sometimes unplanned by us. God brings blessings through the lives of those whose those lives will touch. He doesn't just bless us now with these children, but what we pour into them will flow through those children to bless others when they're adults. We need to count the children as blessings from the Lord. Mothers of merit, count children as blessings from the Lord. And we, as heavenly adopted parents, need to count them the same. We have responsibilities to those who come after us. Our first responsibility is to consider them a blessing and love them. Secondly, mothers of merit consider their children as belonging to the Lord. Verse 22 says this, Hannah did not go. She said to her husband, after the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always. Hannah intended to present her son to be a servant of God, to give him to God's service, to give him to the Lord. He belonged to God. Folks, our children do not belong to us, they belong to God. We are given the privilege and the honor to share life with them, to love them, to raise them, to mentor them, but they are not our possession. They are God's possession. They are our children. And as parents, we are accountable to the one who is above us. Psalm 119:73 says, your hands made me and formed me. Give me understanding to learn your commands. Your hands. Acknowledging who it is that is the author of these children's life and the one whom we are accountable to for not only our lives, but those lives He's placed in our influence. We are accountable for the potential God has placed in children. Bill Cosby once coined a phrase that a lot of us have probably repeated, jokingly, I hope. He said when his son was giving him a hard time raising him at one point, he said, you know, I brought you into this world and I can take you out. The interesting thing is, that could be God talking to every one of us, couldn't it? He brought us into this world and He can take us out. And He will. And He does. But in love, He does everything. Our children need to live in a fear, not of us taking them out, but learn a love from us that allows them to fear letting us down. That hurts their heart when they disappoint us, so that they'll be able to show that same love to their children. We have responsibilities to those that come after us. We need need to see the potential in them and help them grow that potential. They belong to God, and we need to treat them with the respect that they are God's beloved. Thirdly, I want us to notice today that mothers of merit consecrate their children to be brought up in the Lord. Verse 28, Hannah says, "So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord." And he worshiped the Lord there. Proverbs 22:6 tells us that the seeds that we plant bear fruit. Train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he'll not depart from it. Have we noticed that our kids hit a rebellious streak at some point and they go their own way? Happens a lot of times. You want to pull your hair out and go, did everything I taught that kid bear no fruit whatsoever? But I'm reminded of the Bible verse where it says that unless a seed fall into the ground and die, that it can't bear life. That verse tells us if we train a child in the way he'll go, when he's old, he'll not turn from it. How many people do we know that have come to the saving grace of Jesus Christ on their deathbed? There is always hope that they will come to a place where they accept the truth that they were raised in and then never again turn from it. Our seeds bear fruit. 2 Timothy 1:5, we find out that the seeds that we plant are a legacy. He writes to Timothy, he says, "I've been reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother, Lois, and in your mother, Eunice, and I'm persuaded now lives in you also." Where were the fathers? Where was the grandfather? Where was the father? Unfortunately for Timothy, he apparently did not have father images in his life that bore the image of Christ and of faith. But one parent got her done. Lois was able to live out her faith so that Eunice was able to live out her faith so that Timothy was able to have a faith. The influence that we have on children can never be underestimated, nor should we ever think that it's unimportant. It is a legacy that lives on. The seeds we plant are an example. What children see as important to us will become important to them, and it will shape them, and it will shape their values. They need to see the importance of Christ to us in our lives, and they need to see the character of Christ in us, and it will make an effect on them. We need to consecrate these children that we minister to be brought up in the Lord. And that means consecrating ourselves to do that. We have responsibilities to those that come after us. I would like for us to notice something now, if we haven't already got it. Mothers of merit, first of all, do what? They count their children as blessings of the Lord. They secondly consider their children as belonging to the Lord. And they consecrate their children to be brought up in the Lord. All three of these things, the mother put the children first. Hannah prayed for a child for years. When she received one, it would be easy in our flesh to say,